Well, good morning and welcome to BVE North. This is the second live show here from Manchester. We have a packed show full of guests. We are most certainly going to overrun. Stay tuned and enjoy what's coming up. So we've got a number of things coming up. Where we've got Guy Thatcher in a minute. We're going to be talking, my notes say stuff, which is great. Cameras and all sorts of things. If you know about Hireacamera, they've got loads of kit, and we're going to be talking all sorts of stuff. We've got Steffan coming on, talking about Polecam, and the camera options are on there. We've got Selwyn from Tariam coming up. He's going to be talking about the satellite uplink that we're using to stream this to you now. We've got Andy from Genelec coming up, talking about speakers. We've got Blackmagic Design coming up. Who knows what they're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about the cameras that we're using here and the monitors and things, so you get some idea of the sort of kit that we're using, how we're using it. And if you watched yesterday, we have part 2 of the Peli Case Challenge. That challenge is, let's just say, could be the last challenge this Peli Case has ever seen. We showed part 1 yesterday. Part 2 is coming today, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, next to me, Mr. Guy Thatcher.
Afternoon.
Hello, hello.
It is
afternoon.
Yeah.
Right, keep reminding me that it's afternoon. Now, if they don't know, you run a company called Hireacamera.
That's correct.
And funnily enough,
we hire cameras.
You hire cameras.
Yeah.
So you know a little bit about the up-and-coming cameras and technologies, lenses and things.
Yeah.
So let's talk cameras and technology.
Okay, we're going to start with lenses.
Yeah.
Now, these are Samyang lenses.
Yeah.
Okay. Samyang have been around and they're in various different guises, but this is actually a cine lens. If you want, you can have a play with it if you like.
I like it.
It's a cine lens.
It is declicked.
It's declicked, and it's really actually quite nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to tell you that's about 400-ish, 350, 400 pounds.
I would say, is it any good at 400?
Well, I mean, clearly I don't have any talents I wouldn't like to say, but I mean, speaking to Alistair yesterday, Alistair Chapman, who's been testing them quite a lot, he says optically they're superb. And, you know, we've had them out in hire since we got them probably about 3-4 weeks ago, and that one's been out about 7 times, and you can't see much on the scratch on that.
No, no, absolutely.
It's worn pretty well, so yeah, I think they're pretty good value.
Now, I didn't realise they did cinema lenses because I've had one of these. I've got an 85mm 1.4 that I use on an AF101, which is their still lens.
Correct. Well,
and
you
I
don't
loved
talk to the right people.
Yeah, clearly. I never knew that. There you go. I should have been talking to you. And they do it. I just never realised they actually did.
Yeah, they
versions.
do 3 at the moment, and there's another 1 coming out soon, and then there's I think they've got more in the pipeline.
So what? This is the 35mm.
Yeah.
This is a 1.5. You didn't know.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And some larger ones.
Yeah. There's a I think it's a 14. I think it's a 14mm,
right.
30, 35, and an 80 at the moment.
Right.
I think they're
going to go up from there.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that you've got Canon mount on that, you've got Nikon mount on that as well. I think they're a really good solution for people that are looking for a manual lens for whether they were using it for their SLRs or whether they're going to go on to something with an E-mount, with an adapter, that kind of thing. Bolt follow focus straight on them, and as you say, they feel nice, don't they?
They do, they feel
nice. And the
nice.
one other thing to remember is obviously with the longer focal lengths, it's a real pain in the backside trying to pull focus. Now, you actually, I think you tried on this on the C300 we've got. Yeah. The nice thing is if you look, actually, you've got it's been expanded right out, so you've got a much longer.
You're not going like this.
Exactly.
Like you are on a lot of still lenses because.
Exactly. So it's really easy to pull focus. Yeah. I mean, for the price, we hire them out, I think, about £14 a day.
Right.
No brainer.
Amazing.
We like them.
We do. Next.
Right. I went to Canon and I've stolen their C100. It's the only one they've got there, and I did it before any management turned up.
It's the only one on the show, actually.
Yeah, it is the only one here, so they'll notice at some point, I'm sure. C100, when it first came out, we were all a little bit not excited about it at all. Yep. However, it is a really exciting camera for very simple reasons. First of all, price-wise, if you were actually looking to buy a 5D Mark III, which is the most logical thing from a video point of view, this isn't hugely more. Yeah, it's a little bit more, but it's not hugely more. when you consider that this is actually a camcorder,
Yep.
and you don't have to buy all the sound equipment, actually, in fact, if you worked out the camera plus all the sound equipment and everything else, it probably equals about the same as this.
Right.
But you've actually got the same Super 35mm chip you've got in the C300.
Yep.
Same gammas as well, so you could use this as a B camera as well. Now, obviously, this records in AVC HD, which suddenly everybody got all very defensive about.
Sure.
AVC HD is good. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're that upset about it, bolt a Ninja on the back of it, you know, an external recorder, whatever you want to do. It hasn't got HD SDI out on it.
Right.
It's only got HDMI, but
With an Ninja
you have to
on,
bear in mind this
yeah.
is half the price of a C300,
absolutely.
and you're getting the same sensor with
So
it.
does it do the C-Log that the C300 does?
Yeah,
So
and
basically,
match exactly the same.
they've stripped off some of the bits, but they've basically the guts, the sensor,
Yeah.
the dynamic range, the look that you get on the C300 is still here.
Exactly the same. However, there's a couple of interesting things on this. I mean, if you're a camcorder user or you're using run and gun, then there's some things on this which is what they've designed it for. So on here we have got one-stop push AF on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, which is really useful.
Yep.
I mean, I don't use continuous, but one-stop
Yep.
is really useful. In fact, actually, when you put the stepper motor lenses that they're producing at the moment on this, after this has got firmware update, I think it's due about February or so, you will actually have continual autofocus
Right.
on this.
So
How good it will be, I don't know.
Sure.
We'll have to wait and see, because you've got big sensor, fast lenses equals really terrible autofocus,
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
We'll see. But you've also got automatic white balance on here, you've got automatic RS as well on here if you need to use it. So for run and gun,
Yeah.
this is really quite tempting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got a little viewfinder on the back, you've also got the LCD screen. What I will just say is if you do end up buying one of these, go and buy yourself a Q2 Z Finder or something equivalent. It will bolt straight on
Right.
here. You can then shoot straight like that. It's
Gotcha.
brilliant. Really, really nice. Yeah, do you know, as I say, I didn't get excited about it when it came out. I'm now excited. They're coming apparently in about a week and a half's time. Can't wait.
Going to be a popular camera.
It will.
Moving on.
Moving on, we've got the Sony EA50 that I've actually put a Ninja on the top of.
Yeah.
Which way we want it? We want it that way.
Now this is fairly new from Sony, this one, isn't it?
Got them on Monday.
Yeah.
So it is new. Why is this significant? It's significant because up to now, you've either really had to choose between a camcorder or a large sensor camcorder. You've never really had a choice between the two. The C100 is a close option on this, but it's quite expensive. A little bit further down the cost bracket is the EA50. It uses the APS-C sensor. So, I mean, it's within a couple of mil difference of the Super 35. It's virtually exactly the same. But this has a new lens on it. It's an 18-200, which is what the FS100 and 700 shipped out with the manual one.
Yep.
But it's got a power zoom on it.
Right.
And it's actually got a power zoom that's independent of the camera as well. So you could bolt this on your little NEX if you wanted, 5N or something.
Yep.
So what does this mean? It means that you can use it like a camcorder if you want to.
Right.
You know, some people are used to using power zoom. They want servo zooms. And so these kind of cameras aren't any good because they don't do it.
Yep.
This will do it with this lens, but if you want to, you can take that off. You can bolt, well, you know with E-mount, you can bolt anything on them.
it, absolutely.
And then you can actually use the sensor to its full ability. The other thing we liked about this camera is it's got this on it, so we can actually use it shoulder mounted. Now, a bit like with the FS100 and 700, it's got the viewfinder that goes on there, so you can actually use it much like a camcorder.
Where does this sit with the EX3, which is getting a little bit long in the tooth now? Been around a while. Is this their replacement to an EX3?
No, it's not. No,
So
no way. The fact is the EX3 still go out bread and butter all the time. You know, okay, it's not 50 megabits a second, but you know, XDCam is you know, it's still 35 megabits a second. It's still better quality, and it's still used as jobbing camera. We still hire them out, and this won't replace it. What will replace it? I don't know. I mean, you know, now the F5's come out, the F3 is a lot more affordable. And I think people discount the F3, you know, I think they're mad to discount it because it's still a very good camera. I don't know, let's see what Sony do. But
what's this record onto? So obviously you've got an Ninja on it at the moment, but if you
you've got two options on it. You've got here SD HC card. It's AVC HD. Up to 28 megabits a second at 50p. So same as all the FS cameras as well. You can also put Sony's, I think it's, I can't remember how big it is, it's enormous. I think it's, I can't remember how big it is, but basically their SSD you can stick on the side here as well. And obviously we've got HDMI out on it, so I've got a Ninja 2 bolted on the top of here. And funnily enough, this camera was used for the IOV Awards last night.
Right.
So they had it running for 9 or nearly 2 hours.
As soon as you get a Ninja on there, you can just,
Exactly. But the interesting thing is that, we're now seeing, for people that have been so confused as to what the hell do they do, they've got a Z1, they've got a Z5 or V1, they're camcorder based, that's what they earn their money out of, but they've wanted to look at the more creative side of it, short depth of field and that kind of thing. But that would mean buying another camera as well. This is starting to give them the option of now being able to do both and actually do it in a way you're actually going to make money out of.
Guy, thank you very much. Now,
absolute pleasure.
As I mentioned, you run Hireacamera.
Yes.
So you're the perfect person to speak to if they want to test one of these out, see how it fits in their workflow.
We got these on Monday. And I've been told, little bird from Canon told me that we should be getting these in about a week and a half's time.
Great, and of course a full range of other cameras and lenses as well. What stand are you at? Because people want to come and find you.
I knew you were going to ask that.
You are somewhere over there. So if you, for those here, if you want to find him, he knows everything there is to know about cameras. He's by the IOV stand over there.
B40.
B40, I've just been told B40.
Thank you.
Guy, thank you very much for coming on and bringing this.
We went far over.
We didn't go over at all. We're just so self-controlled. We could have gone on for ages. Guy, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much indeed.
I'll come and see you later and play with more of your toys, I'm sure.
I better get this back to Canon before they shoot me.
Brilliant, thank you. Guy's going to run out of here now. So thanks to Guy. He's great. We actually hire kit from him all the time. Basically, he's got just about every camera, lens. He's even got Polecams in stock if you want one. And talking of Polecams, Steffan came on here. Come on, mate. Steffan came on here yesterday, and we actually talked a bit about the Polecam. And here he is now. Hi, Steffan.
Good afternoon to you. Not good morning.
Good afternoon, Steffan. I guess this is going to be the theme of the rest of the show. It is the afternoon. You can tell it's getting dark already. It looks like out there. Now we spoke Polecam yesterday.
Yes,
and if people want to know about the Polecam, they can look at yesterday's show.
Yes. And
obviously go to your site. Now we want to talk about what goes on the end of the Polecam today. We know we can put cameras on like Guy was talking about, C100s and things with your long head. Something about saying long head. Sorry, what is it? We're going to try and keep this under control here. Well, we want to talk about, when it was originally designed, it was the mini cams, wasn't it?
It was all about the mini cams.
It was.
And, in the early days of SD, one of the problems was the mini cams were all 4x3. Because they were designed for the medical market, endoscopy and microscopy. And 16:9 was a real killer. HD came out, native 16:9. But the one thing that everybody kept screaming to us about, we have these lovely tiny prime lenses, huge depth of field, lovely picture. You've seen the pictures we're giving here. But everybody wants a zoom lens. And zoom lenses are big things. Well, after 6 years, we've got there. From Resolve Optics, a little 10-time zoom lens. And what's really clever about this, what they've done, is the backs are interchangeable.
Right.
So in this case, we are 1/3 inch triple chip. So it's prism corrected for 1/3 inch cameras. But by changing the 4 screws, dropping the back off, putting a new back on, we can go to 2/3 inch single chip.
Right.
So Toshiba triple chip cameras that we're all using and using very well, but now the new 2/3 inch cameras are coming through, like the IndyCam, the LMP and all these sort of things. They're all screaming for a zoom lens as well. So Resolve Optics have come up together with this. Polecam owns the global exclusive distribution rights on this.
Right.
So we're marketing this absolutely worldwide and supplying it everywhere. It's on a 1/3 inch, it's like an 8 to 80 mil.
Right.
But there is an off-the-shelf from the same company, wide-angle adapter, and this is a genuine 0.5, full HD, full zoom through. So you've now got 4 to 40. So you're looking about 62 degrees horizontal field of view.
And if this was at the end, for example, obviously it doesn't just have to be used at the Polecam, but if it's used at the end of the Polecam, you've got control of that zoom.
We've got control of it
down here.
And here's one we prepared earlier. Look at this.
They're all nice carbon fibre as well.
We're using actually our old carbon fibre, recycling it as we do on everything. This is what we call a ZIF handle.
Right.
And it's very clean and simple. Zoom rocker that everyone knows. But underneath we have a wheel for focus and a trigger for iris.
Nice.
So this can be attached to the Polecam with this bracket or be used in standalone mode. So it's very clean, very simple, very easy to use. It's a low-cost, simple solution.
Yep.
You want to attach a C-motion system to this? You can. But for less than £1,000, you've got a hand controller and total control of the zoom lens. And what it's doing is it's giving a lot of the cameras out there, Iconics as a classic, are starting, its sort of popularity is dropping off. But now with a zoom lens, it's all coming back again, and new lenses that are coming on the market. So a camera that was starting to see the end of its life, getting a whole new lease of life again. So we're really pleased about it.
It just gives you that flexibility of systems, doesn't it, at the end of your the end of the pole, you can do that. This is slightly larger.
This is slightly. I bought this for you.
Did you?
Because I've seen the Peli challenge.
Yes.
And I've been very privileged to see what happens.
Yes.
And it is really exciting to see what you've done with the high speed and the Sony camera. But what we're really excited about with the new long head.
Yes.
that you
long
like.
Head up there.
This is the new Miro.
Right.
From Vision Research, the Phantom Miro. Believe it or not, this entire camera body weighs only 1 kilo.
Right. So you can fly that.
So we can fly this on our head.
Okay.
And it works fantastically.
Right.
You put it together with a lens.
Yep.
This will shoot 1,500 frames a second, full HD.
Okay.
It will go up to, and I'm sure John Hannaford will correct me, 240,000 frames a second.
Right.
Not in full HD.
Yep.
So you'll be able to film bullets exiting a camera.
Sure.
But from our point of view, one of the real key things is being able to fly a camera of this quality, which is used by the natural history, you know, the advertising industry. It's about being able to place the camera in a position where you couldn't normally place it, but also giving it some dynamics and some movement. So we could fly it out over some water, getting to a crocodile coming out. We can, there's so many things you can do with it.
And if you don't know, this is the camera that's made by the same people that make the Phantom Flex.
Correct.
So they know what they're doing about high speed, and everybody who does high speed knows the Phantom Flex. Well, this is like a mini Phantom Flex.
Do you know what? I had a play with this yesterday.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, they should put an Apple stamp on it because it's so user-friendly. It's so intuitive. You know, I could even give it to you, or even Simon. No, I don't think we shouldn't give it to them. We shouldn't do that.
I did notice you've got a Canon mount lens on there. So is it? So I mean, obviously, you think of Phantom Flex or some other things, you've got to have big
well,
cine
they've
lenses
thought it through. You know, you need to have this. You know, EF lenses now are being used here, there, and everywhere, and people are even integrating mounts into the lenses to give them full electronic control, utilizing the servos within it. So, this is becoming quite an exciting tool for us. It's I've got to say, high speed something that's always interested me. So I'm really keen on pushing this. There's from Antelope. There's a new camera called the Antelope Pico, which is the size of the Toshiba.
Right.
So again, you know, for real mini cam stuff, we're only talking maximum 500 frames a second. But for sport, very exciting. I was in China last week for the Tiger Woods Rory McIlroy shoot-off.
Right.
And we were using the Antelope Pico on the Polecam to fly high over the golfers on the tee-off. And the commentators were getting really excited because they could start talking about the swing and how much they could see, spinal angles. It was really exciting. So, you know, the cameras are giving the Polecam a whole new lease of life because Polecam's a platform. That's all we are. You know, and today we're using these. Tomorrow, who knows what's coming out?
Who knows? I'm sure you will always tell us when it is coming out. That's the great thing about it. Now, you're based with us here, which is great. You're flying a Polecam around, or well, not at the moment. But
and Guy Thatcher, who was on before, he's got a Polecam on his stand
too,
as
so
well.
people go and see it there as well. So if you've got any questions about Polecam, and of course these heads and things you're here, go and have a word with Steffan. He's going to be here for the duration of the show, which is not very long now, so grab him while you can. If not, it's polecam.com.
That's it.
Polecam.com is the website. Go and have a look.
Thank you very much indeed.
Brilliant.
Good to see you again.
Thanks a lot, Steffan.
Cheers.
So Steffan has been great flying this Polecam around all day at the show, which has been good because this Polecam's being used to basically send a feed out live to the world when we're not broadcasting. So come and sit down, Selwyn. And we've been sending that out with over a satellite link. So we've got a KA sat dish sat outside somewhere, not the one that's in here, that's just for show because that would be impressive. But we've got a KA sat and we've been streaming live via that all the show since the beginning and start yesterday. And that's been put together by this man here. Hello, Selwyn.
Good
Tariam.
afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon. As good morning. Yeah, good afternoon.
Not a good morning. You lose track of time. It's just,
Okay.
you know what it's like in these shows.
I know.
You never know where you are when you are. It's
Exactly
just
right.
all merged into one.
Exactly right. Yes.
Selwyn, one, thank you for letting us use your system. It's been great. First of all, I think it's important that you let certainly the audience here know and those watching.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about Tariam and the system that we are using here.
Well, we're a satellite broadcast company, and we were set up initially for the domestic market, for people who just don't have bandwidth at home.
Yep.
And then we've expanded the system and expanded the services so that people could start using it for broadcasting, radio, television, webcasting. You're a regular user. And our customers now extend to the BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera's been testing, and we have a whole raft of other broadcasters who are beginning to use us, especially people who are starting up in business for the first time, because the costs are low, and it gives a very good service. So that's what we're all about.
And for those who don't know, it's an internet connectivity, it's IP connectivity.
It's both. It's internet. We can either land the data and move it across the internet, or we can route it through our partners Auriga in London. We can route it off internet through to Telehouse North, and then hand it off to the broadcasters, whoever wants to use it.
Brilliant. So it basically means that you can be anywhere. I think it's the European footprint, isn't it?
Yes.
Point this dish up at the sky, and you're going to get yourself an IP connection that you can then utilise for streaming like we are.
Virtually south. And then the footprint is the whole of Europe and parts of North Africa.
Brilliant. Now, you mentioned people like the BBC, Al Jazeera, CNN. If you want to use this service, and you need that guaranteed connectivity, because a lot of it is you get heard of contention where there's people borrowing it, you're effectively sharing it with other people. They need a one-to-one contention ratio.
That's right.
Well, you offer that service.
That's right. The product for that is called NewsSpotter.
Right.
Now the service that you use is contended. And at the moment, I think it's 10 megs down and 4 megs up. We're now increasing that to 18 megs down and 6 megs up. And then for uncontended one-to-one broadcast quality, it's 10 megs down, 10 megs up.
And that's a one-to-one. That is your 10 megs.
Absolutely dedicated to the user.
Now, I've used standard satellite uplinks and things for live broadcasts and such like, and it's absolute pain. You have to book your satellite time. You then have to write the check. And then you want a little bit more, and you think, start ringing up. Can I get it? Is it available? What's it like booking this one-to-one satellite time with you guys?
2 ways you can do it. Just get on the phone to us. Flash to bang. You're on air in 10 to 15 minutes. Or we're developing our operating system so that you just get on yourself online, book your own broadcast time, when you want to start, when you want to stop. But it gets better, because we are hoping, I can't say definitely, hoping to announce a new service where it'll be always on. So what happens is that you'll have a best endeavour service, which is contended, giving you, let's say, 4 megs down, 1 meg up, and then when you want to book your broadcast time, up it goes into NewsSpotter, and when you finish your broadcast time, it go back to the always-on time, and they bill you at the end of the month for what you've used. So you'll have an always-on service, which is fantastic.
So you can just point it up, and off you go. As soon as you hit...
For a webcaster, that's because he can do his voice, he can do his emails, web browsing, all sorts of stuff, and then he can use the same modem for his broadcast, switch off again, engineering talkback. On the NewsSpotter, by the way, we've got CIR on the side anyway for engineers to talk to each other whilst they're broadcasting. So it really is a polished professional service, and we've developed it thanks largely to Auriga, who've taken a lot of advice from the senior broadcasters and made it into a more usable product.
Brilliant, Selwyn. Well, I have to say, it has worked faultlessly over the last couple of days. And just to point out, we do this show live from our studio down in Newbury. That's south, by the way. And we use their satellite uplink all the time for that. So all the live shows that we do from down there are via your satellite system as well. And it has been absolutely spot on. So Selwyn, thank you very much. Thank you for letting us know about it. Obviously, you're here as well with us on the stand.
We're on the stand as well.
If you want to find out a bit more about your systems, then come and speak to this man here. He will be hanging around all day. If not, I suspect we better tell them what website they can go to if they're watching this live.
It's easy as it's www.tariam.co.uk or just two-way direct, TOOWAY direct.com. And there's 2 very good websites you can look through.
Brilliant. Selwyn, thank
That's
you very
right.
much for
Take
coming
care.
on. Much appreciated. That's
That's
Selwyn,
right.
everybody. Thank you.
Take care.
And he gets a round of applause as well. Quite right. Right. Just to remind you, we do have the final part of the Polecam Challenge coming up soon. Before that, we better talk about speakers. It's all right having your microphones and things, but if you can't hear it properly, then you better get yourself some decent speakers. And what we're using, and we're using quite a little, actually just the 2 little ones that you guys live are Genelec speakers. And we have Andy here. Yeah. Hi, Andy. I'm good. I'm going to turn up the right mic.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It is afternoon.
It is afternoon.
Been a long morning.
I've been saying morning all show, so I'm going to highlight the fact that it is good afternoon. Now, you all work for Source Distribution.
Correct.
One of your colleagues was on yesterday talking about mics, so we talked about one end of the chain.
Yep.
And now we're going to talk about Genelec speakers, and which are, if you haven't seen Genelec speakers, you have been living on a different planet, because they're quite unique looking.
You will see them in many, many, many areas. Absolutely.
And they kind of all look the same, but different sizes.
Yes.
So
I mean, when speccing Genelec monitors for your studio, for home use, for wherever you may be using it, the most important consideration is what level of SPL do you want to hear at the listening position.
Yep.
And also the other consideration is frequency response. What content am I working with, and how low do I need to go? So if you're a drum and bass producer, or you're working with dance music, then you're going to have to go pretty low. If you're an offline editor working primarily with dialogue, you're not going to have to go that low. So size and SPL has a real part to play. Starting off with something like the 8220s, which are the smaller brothers of these. Find those a lot in edit suites. You can work with music with them, but you'd have to be very close to them and working in a smaller room.
Sure.
As the room size increases, then the monitor increases.
Right.
There's a very linear approach to Genelec's design. So as you listen to the smaller ones, and as you step through to the larger ones, they sound very similar, they just get broader, and then they start to open up in the top end. And that's pretty much the way to spec a Genelec system.
Right. So if you're in a sort of room this size, with, imagine we had a wall there and a wall there, and we're using this for editing some video with a music soundtrack or something like that, the sort of size speaker we would get away with would be this sort of size.
I would look at something like 8032, 8040, and then see if there was consideration for a sub. And see how low you would need to go.
Sure.
On the Genelec website, and there's a couple of resources that they offer, they will give you room dimensions. Find your room volume, and then they will specify monitors that will give you that. If you need to work to any specific standards, specific SPL at a listening position, then you can then work that out from there and spec your system accordingly.
Now, I've seen these stacked up on your stand over there, which always looks very, and you have lined them up beautifully, I'd like to say.
Yes, it took a while, as long as they look right. That's the most important thing.
And they look good. Now, I noticed that you've got the 3 bigger ones, although they look the same, technology-wise, they're slightly different, isn't they?
Yes, I mean, the innards in this one, for example, the 8240, I mean, in terms of dimensions, cabinet design, tweeter design, woofer design, exactly the same as the standard 8040. Where the 8200 series takes a slightly different tact is you've got internal DSP processing.
Right.
So this comes under the banner of the Smart Active Monitor that Genelec are very, very, very proud of. And essentially what it does, it comes as a traditional analog speaker, but with digital inputs. So what you can do, you can feed it AES as well if you want. The internals of this, the actual signal processing, you connect it up to an external interface, to a laptop, and then with a calibration microphone, you will generate a sweep from the speaker, and they will essentially self-calibrate. So if you're in a difficult room, for example, it's got humps at 100 hertz, that will then tame that, bring that down, and give you the most linear frequency response for that room. If you are ever traveling to different rooms, or you need to work in a less than ideal environment, or be vans, or kind of if you're in just a small room, that's where the DSP system really, really benefits, and it kind of get you really in that ballpark.
I'm going to extend you off chair, because I noticed you got the mic down there, haven't you?
Yes.
That you use. It uses the system for. So this is the mic that once you put your speakers where you want them to go, and you place this, in your sort of listening position. Is that the ideal?
I would generally start off finding out where the listening position is, and then place the monitors around that.
Right.
there's often considerations such as furniture, where the tea and coffee are coming through for surrounds, that kind of thing. So you'll put them as close to that ideal position as possible. And then from there, pop your mic in the center at the listening, at the sweet spot. Connect the GLM, Genelec loudspeaker management interface to your laptop. And then with a Cat5 cable, just connect all the speakers on the network. They will then be recognized on the system, and you'll be able to see them by serial number. So it intelligently works out where you are in the room. A sweep will then be generated from the monitor, picked up by the microphone, and then it will then calculate the room response. From that point, once it's got a calculation, it will then calibrate the system and correct for any anomalies, giving you the flattest possible frequency response. And it's quite eerie how flat it can get.
And if people they wanted to, to start with a flat system, can they tweak that afterwards if they needed a little bit more?
Absolutely. What I generally find is the Autocue software will get you 85–90% of the way. And then from there, it's up to you whether you want to add a little bit more entertainment value in the bottom end, especially home theatre guys or guys that are working in film that want to feel a little bit more energy in the low end for explosions, effects, that kind of thing. You can add that. If you feel that there's a little bit too much high end in there, then you can kind of alter that as well. It's not a problem.
Gotcha. And they are amazing sounding.
Yes.
I've been always very impressed, even with the smallest ones. They just sound crystal clear and absolutely amazing speakers. Now you are based here. We're around the corner somewhere.
Yes.
We keep just dragging all these exhibitors in.
It matters, but we're over that way on E17.
E17. And you've got the whole range, haven't you?
Pretty much the 8000 series, yes.
So if you want to come and listen to them, they've even got the massive, great big ones there as well. You can demo them around there.
8260s, you can hear them from the Diddy ones right up to the big three.
And they are very impressive indeed. Andy, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I will pop around later and listen to those big ones again because I just think they're absolutely phenomenal speakers. I use a little set when I'm editing as well. I just think they're brilliant, and we needed something just to give you guys out there a little bit of volume, so we just stuck two of their smaller ones up there, and they do the job beautifully. Right, we are going to move on at a fair rate of knots. Do we have?
Thank you.
Sorry. Who is next? Oh, I'll tell you who's next. We've got Simon next from Blackmagic, who's already wired up and here.
Already prepared.
Hey, look at that. He's got his microphone a bit higher. Good to see you. And you. So Simon, you're from a little-known company called Blackmagic Design.
Yes.
Who's let's just say we all know of you.
Well, we've spent a long time being not so little known, and hopefully selling a few more things.
You are, absolutely. Now, we're going to talk about a number of different things, aren't we, I think?
Yep.
First of all, obviously, we're using an Autocue system here, which is a whole channel in the box and things like that.
Yep.
Absolutely brilliant for setting up this studio and works a treat. I do a lot of live streaming where I'm moving about and I need to take things with me, either in a little OB truck or actually to a client site. And you do a system, the ATEM system.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a whole kind of modular range of products in terms of different size switches for live production. So I think you've shown some of these in the programs in the past, but they start at the small 1 rack unit television studio, which has got 6 simultaneous live inputs. We then do a 1ME version of that and a 2ME version as well. And the biggest of those in size is only 3 rack units high. So one of the main benefits of that is they're incredibly portable. And we're seeing a huge revolution, really, I think, in live production, doing exactly the kind of things, John, that you're doing, where people want to take broadcast quality production live to environments just like this one, and they want to set up a complete studio. So, that's something that over the course of the last 12 months has been hugely popular, because not only have you got the switches themselves, but we've got a couple of different methods of controlling them. You can either use the hardware control panel for what looks like the traditional desk, where you get that positive feedback of faders and knobs and switches and the traditional control. But it also comes with a software control surface, so that you can use a PC or you can use a MacBook Pro and literally control all of the switches functionality straight from a laptop computer.
And I have to say, it works beautifully, especially with a lot of the time if you do corporate stuff, you get shoved into this little room.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, you're going to work in here. And if you're taking your standard switches with your extra monitors for every input and your control surface, you're just not going to fit. Whereas you can turn up with a TV studio and a laptop and a standard HDMI monitor and switch if you needed to.
And I think that is the big deal. I mean, everybody, when it comes to live production, you're looking to minimize the amount of kit you have to take into that environment. So, yeah, absolutely right. The ability to have built-in multi-views, so you can literally see all of your sources, you can see your preview and your program feed on that HDMI display. I think the fact that that's built in is a huge issue. The other thing that we built in as a secondary feature, didn't ship with the product from new, but is something that we do on quite a regular basis, is add features as we go forward. We added audio mixing capability as well to the ATEM range. And again, that means that you now don't even have to have a separate audio desk. You can use your software control panel to mix your audio. And we also showed at IBC, I think for the first time, using one of any of the small USB audio mixers to actually control that as well.
Control surfaces like Behringer or something like that.
We've got a Behringer one on the booth here at the show. There's Mackie. There's loads of these, and they're really great because they're small in size. And again, it comes down to what can you carry into an event. And I think that because of the price point, because of the affordability, and because of the form factor in size, we're seeing ATEM really being sort of strong, the uptake being really strong over the last sort of 12 months.
I must say, with the integration of audio mixing in it, it first came out and you suddenly start thinking, yeah, but why do I want to do audio mixing in it? I've got a desk, and I was talking to some sound engineers, I've got that, and then we set it up, and we used some your SSD playback systems. And we suddenly realised we no longer have to take a audio feed out of that into a desk to come back into it, because you just have it as a channel on there, and you can have your levels preset ready to go. So the audio guy doesn't have to worry about fading those up there when you hit play. And it's a treat.
It really just does improve just the portability, because when you're dealing with, as many people do, with embedded audio on an SDI signal or the HDMI signal, it just takes one more piece of kit out of the chain.
So let's. I was at IBC looking around your nice large stand. It's nice and warm down there as well at IBC. I remember.
There's plenty of lights.
Plenty of lights. You have some new little I/O devices, which I spotted.
Yeah, we do. Oh, and this is the great part of the demo. This is like the rabbit from the hat part of the demo.
Because you've got one with you.
There's not many. There's not many products in our range that we can actually carry in our pockets. And I think that shows the real value of these things. These are shipping now. We showed them at IBC for the first time. And we've got the Ultra Studio Mini Recorder and the Ultra Studio Mini Monitor. These do the reverse of each other. So in the case of the Mini Recorder, it connects to your Thunderbolt MacBook or your Thunderbolt PC, because we've seen a lot more Thunderbolt come into PC now. And the recorder basically lets you capture from an SDI or HDMI source over that Thunderbolt connection. Incredibly small. Exactly the kind of thing you should probably carry in your camera bag. It's almost a get out of jail solution, whereby it's worth having one for any eventuality that may come your way. And in addition to the mini recorder, that then does the reverse. So if you want to play video out over a Thunderbolt connection, you can get an SDI out or an HDMI out of a box that's that big.
So you could literally, if you think, oh, I've got to get some video out and I've only got my laptop with Thunderbolt, you think, oh, I've got one of these, I've now got a playout device.
Absolutely. If somebody came here to you today and said, I want to show you this piece of video, it's on my laptop, they could literally just fire up the laptop, use Media Express, being our free software utility, and play that video out straight into your SDI or HDMI input.
And likewise, if, like me, you're a live streaming guy, and somebody's given you, I've got an SDI feed, and now you no longer have to take a larger, more expensive unit to get that into your system, which is all you want to do in the end.
I mean, the bigger ones are not much larger, but you won't get a lot smaller than that.
No, absolutely.
And I think, again, price point of those, as you would expect, they're ridiculously expensive. They're £99 each. So they're the kind of things that everybody should carry with them. If they're using Thunderbolt for professional video workflows, these are a really cool accessory to have.
And you did mention that they work with, because this is worth mentioning, with PCs. So now PCs are starting to, Thunderbolt's starting to come to PCs.
Yes.
However, there are Thunderbolt devices that aren't necessarily going to work with PCs, but yours do work with PCs.
They do. In all of our Thunderbolt development, we actually work closely with Intel as the developers of the technology, and we were the first manufacturer to get Intel certification for some of our Thunderbolt products on Windows platforms. So I think our Intensity Extreme and Intensity Shuttle products were the first two of any video products to be certified for use on Windows with Thunderbolt. And that certification process will be an ongoing one with, I think we've now got something like 12 different Thunderbolt products in our range. But because we work so closely with Intel in its development, critically, they have to work across those different platforms for them to be really useful for customers.
Brilliant. Now, Simon, before I let you go, I've got to ask, what have we got to look forward to? There's always something to look forward to with Blackmagic, surely.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty to look forward to. I mean, I think it's been really interesting being here for a couple of days and actually listening to what customers are telling us that we've got to look forward to, because I think we go through those trends and those themes at different shows, and very much at IBC, and it's reflected by the cover of TV Bay, was 4K.
Sure.
Everybody you spoke to was 4K. We've come here to this show, and everybody's now talking about local television.
Right.
And I know there's been a couple of seminars taking place and talks over the last couple of days. And I think now that those licenses are starting to be awarded for local TV, it's amazing how much buzz that's creating in the UK market. So I think industry-wide what we have to look forward to is greater democratization of TV and broadcast. And I know you've been talking about this in terms of, you know, the barriers of cost of entry have come down dramatically on setting up a broadcast facility. So I think hand in hand with where that fits with ourselves and as a manufacturer, it's about always responding to what the customers are asking for. So whether it's ATEM, whether it's the portable solutions that they're using in outside broadcast events or wherever that may be, it's always about responding to those needs in the product range that we develop. And as you kindly say, there is always something new around the corner.
Absolutely. Simon, well, thank you very much for coming on and talking about ATEM and these new products, which I think these things are spectacular.
And it's nearly evening now, by the way.
And it's nearly evening as well, so I have to say.
Your good morning or good afternoon is no longer valid.
It is actually starting to get dark out there.
It is getting dark.
It is. Simon, thank you very much for coming. It's much appreciated.
Nice to see you again.
Simon from Blackmagic, everybody, thank you very much. Where are we? Right. Oh, it's that time. It's the Pelly Challenge. If any of you have ever watched Broadcast Show live, I hope you have. We run it every month. The next one is on December the 12th, so make sure you're watching it there. We have been doing a challenge with a Pelly 1600 case. We got one down there, about this sort of size, your standard sort of size Pelly case. And we wanted to find out what it takes and how much punishment one of these cases can take. And we've thrown it off buildings, we've dragged it behind a rib in the channel at about 45 knots. We've sunk it, we've actually shot it with a 12-bore and a rimfire 2.2 rifle to see how well it does. And we thought we'd step up the mark a little bit on this next one. Now, yesterday we showed the sort of lead up to it. We showed the cameras. So we had an octocopter flying over the top of it. We had the Polecam with an FS700 on there, giving us some high-speed stuff. A load of other cameras around it. The reason being is we wanted to see how well it would survive and to whether or not this thing would survive if, for example, you placed it on top of some high explosives. So we had a glass in it, we had a GoPro on top, and we had an egg from a local chicken, which wasn't hard-boiled. We placed it on top of this, these explosives, which was put in by a certified explosive expert, I assure you. Okay? He's worked on Bond films, he knew what he was doing, and well, have a look. We're just about to let it go off, as they say, so this is what happened. Everybody ready? Here we go. And action. Please tell me you got that. In answer as to how far the case will go. A long way. Did the case survive a charge underneath it? No. Let's go and have a look. Okay, are you happy? Right. Yeah, this was quite impressive. I'm feeling the GoPro may not have survived. Let's go for a look. There's the back. We have various pieces of burning debris. I'm looking for a GoPro. Hold on. Hold on. Do you know what? We have a GoPro. It looks okay. It looks okay though. It's not switching on, but that could just be the battery. We will come back to this. It's in one piece. That's the main thing. Helicopter blowing stuff all over the place. Well, there we go. I would say we have fulfilled our mandate, and we have tested a Pelicase 1600 to destruction. In answer to the question, if you were to accidentally place your Pelicase on top of some high explosives with your kit in it, the Pelicase is strong, but it ain't that strong. Needless to say, that's the end of the Pelicase. The little gentleman. Let me just mute myself off there. There we go, we're muted. If you notice, a little guy came up, smiled at the camera at the beginning. That's our explosive expert, okay? Game of Thrones does the stuff on that. Bond films, okay? 10 feet in the air, he told us, with maybe a hole in the bottom, okay? And it blew the bits out of it. It was a fun one to do. And somewhere, I can assure you there's a bit of Pelicase lying around there. I was going to bring it out and show you the handle, which landed about this far away from me over here. It was a bit more destructive than we thought. So that's probably the end of the Pelicase tests from now onwards, but we'll have to think of something else. If you want to see the first part where we look at all the kit that we used, that was on the show yesterday, which should be up online. And which one am I on? That one. And we'll put that up online, and we'll also put it all up on YouTube as well, so you can see, because we had octocopters and all sorts of things. Right. Let's go and actually talking about cameras and things. Am I on this one? I am on this one. Hey. Right. I'm controlling sound with an iPad, by the way, because I'm the sound engineer here as well, which is controlling that PreSonus mixer over there. If you want to find out more, speak to me, or those guys from Source Distribution. It's very cool. Right, I'll turn us up a little bit. So one of the beauties of doing this stuff at Broadcast Show is that we get to play with lots of different kit. And Ikegami has kindly lent us 3 cameras that we're using today. We've got this one here, that one there, and this one over here. And we've got Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hi, John. You all right?
I'm going to... You hold that mic, I'll hold this one.
Okay.
So, Mark, tell us a little bit about the cameras that we've got here, because these aren't your standard stick them on your shoulder, run and gun type cameras, are they?
No, we've got 2 system cameras here, dockable Unicam HD we call them, 2 different versions. This is sort of bottom of the range, 1080i only. Yep. 3-chip P4 mount, 16-bit A to D. Very, very good signal to noise ratio. Yep. Very versatile camera. Then the next one along, the 97A, same body, but 3 progressive CCDs. Right. It's multi-format, does 720p, 1080i, also 1080p 3G capable.
Which is the one that we've got on our main cam up here in front of the Autocue. Yep.
but all the accessories are the same.
Sure.
Same viewfinders, dockable, so you can put triax or fiber, wireless as well. And the other camera is 1080i only, box camera.
Yep.
Used on lots of remote heads, that sort of thing. HDL 45E. Same CCD as the 55, same video processing, just a much more compact camera for sort of point of view systems. Also ITV use it for their sign language studio, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So very high quality, but very compact.
So the advantage, what's the advantage of getting a system camera rather than just saying, let's just get a camera with like this on and stick an HSDI in? What are benefits of having a modular based system? And we've got remote control over there, obviously. From
we've got OCPs and full maintenance control from those OCPs.
Yep.
The advantage is you can have a very long fiber cable or triax cable between your studio control room or your OB truck.
Yep.
Up to sort of 3 kilometers, no problem. And you get full control, everything down the one sort of 9.2 millimeter cable.
Right. And as far as power goes, is that coming down there as well?
Yeah, we say it's a fiber cable, but it's actually a hybrid cable.
Right, okay.
So there's 4 copper wires and 2 fibers in there. You also get your return video, so you can see program output on the
right. So you're not having to put extra boxes onto everything.
Right.
It's all built into the camera, and you can just do it.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say they've worked brilliantly. And it's great being able to have the CCU control over there where you can adjust things and get them all matched up nicely. Yeah. And they've been brilliant. So, Mark, thank you very much for having them on. Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's Mark, everybody. And if you want to know anything more about these, he's hanging around here and will be on hand to answer your questions. Am I hearing James Bond in the background? I am hearing James Bond. It's like they knew we blew something up with a James Bond explosive man. We are getting close now. We've got one more guest to go. And we're going to talk about monitors. Come on, sit down, Stuart.
Enter.
I'm not sure which mic.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That should be fine.
No stress, nothing. Just modular.
There you go. I've just heard Mark talking to everybody there because he never stops talking. That's Mark somewhere over there. Look, he's got a headset on and he's talking. Why has he got a headset on? Bit concerned that somebody else is coming on that I don't know anything about at the moment. But in the meantime, let's talk about monitors.
Yep.
So, Stuart, you're from Cash Media.
Yep.
And you have kindly supplied us with a lot of our monitors here. We've got, well, this one here, for example, which is what we can see our program feed on.
There's a stack over there as well.
A stack over there which people are looking at. Now, these are Marshall monitors.
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit about the range, because we've got a number of monitors here. Tell us a little bit about them first, and obviously, of course, tell us a bit about Cash Media and what it is that you guys do. Okay, that's great.
Well, let me start off just saying a little bit about Cash Media. We're a 10-year-old company. We're based in Newbury. We've got a pretty big warehouse. We've got technical facilities, and we've got obviously the office.
Yep.
The range of Marshall monitors is quite extensive. So it starts with the field monitors.
Yep.
And they've been extremely popular with the DSLR areas. And then we go up to the production stack areas, and our main market area really is sort of OB and those type of areas where people need performance and lightweight.
Sure. Now, you mentioned sort of DSLR, obviously large sensors, the thing at the moment. There's large sensors everywhere, and that makes a big difference when it comes to monitoring, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
There's suddenly a shallower depth of field. You need to get your focus bang on.
Yeah, and particularly with larger image sensors. I think focus and exposure has suddenly become very, very important. It always was, but I think it becomes more important. One of the things I was going to talk to you about today, we've got the new 9-inch modular series.
Right.
Which we launched at IBC.
Yep.
And it's all very well me saying, sorry, we'll do a shot there. And it's all very well me saying, it does this and it does this.
Yep.
But we actually sent out the 9-inch monitor to someone from F-Stop Academy called Den Lenny.
Yes.
And asked him to do a review for us. And interestingly enough, in this magazine for this month, which has got Marshall on the front of it, inside there is a very, very good article from Den who talks specifically about this 9-inch and what are the factors that he looks for in a monitor.
Yep.
And one of the things that he starts off by saying is that at the back, you want to have a variety of battery plates. So here we're showing it with a V-mount.
Yep.
We're finding more and more that V-mount is the choice that most people want to have. Each monitor comes as standard with HDMI.
Yep.
And then you can add a module.
Right.
So this is either a 3G module or a dual output 3G module.
Right.
So it means that you're able to do a variety of jobs quite easily, because you don't know when you start whether you're going to be faced with HDMI or HDSDI or how you're going to do it. Sure. So that's a very neat system to use.
So once you get into this, you've got your panel and your functionality. You can then choose the connectivity you want.
Exactly. So as I say, you get HDMI to start with, and then you plug in a module. And rental companies quite like these as well, because it means that they can configure the monitor exactly to the camera before it goes out.
So you mentioned this is a 9-inch monitor.
Yes.
Is it? I mean, obviously this is a bigger monitor. A lot of people are using the smaller 5.6, 7-inch monitors. What's your thoughts about these 9-inch monitors now? Is it?
That's a really good question, because over the last couple of years we've been very successful, particularly with the 7-inch and then with the 5-inch, and they've done extremely well. We've now launched the 9-inch, and the response has been phenomenal. Mainly because a lot of people were used to having the 9-inch Sony monitors, you know, the old CRT that everybody's used. And over time, they've sort of realised that shooting on a 7-inch wasn't quite what they wanted. So they've gone to the 9. And we see over the next year a migration of people moving up from 7s to 9s, or if they've got a 7, they'll buy a 9 as well. And actually, we see more 9-inch being sold than the smaller ones, right? Because it does so much more. And as you can see, it's lightweight and very easy to use in relation to carrying a CRT around.
So as far as bestsellers for you, then this is the
bestsellers at the moment still the 7-inch and still the 5.5 and the 5-inch that we've got as well. And we've also got a Sunbright 7-inch.
Right.
But I think honestly that the market will change, and people will say they want to go to a larger screen. And particularly price-wise, it's only about £1,200. Right. So it's the differential from a 7-inch to a 9 is actually not that much when you do get a lot more.
Now, finally, it's been a bit of a buzzword, this show, is local TV. We had a debate on here earlier, and everybody's been talking about the local TV. Where do you see sort of the monitors fitting into this now?
Well, interesting enough, we are, as I mentioned, we're based in Newbury. We're a distributor for Marshall monitors and servers. We actually have just introduced a new range of servers from a company called Hardata, which is a very, very well-known radio automation company. And they've now branched into servers. And so what they're doing is putting their automation and their graphics on top of a server, which is an industry standard server. So it means that for the local TV market, I think one of the things that people will be looking for is the ability to ingest a whole multitude of files very easily. They don't want to go into transcoding and change. They want to ingest a multitude of files because the man in the street will want to send a file in, and then they want to play those files out natively as well. And I think that's one of the things that this server offers, as well as being at a very, very keen price point. And from our point of view, we can actually supply monitors, we can supply servers, and put the whole peripheral around it. But the whole local TV thing, I think, is really, really exciting. And hopefully in the next month or so, when it's all announced, I think it's going to create a real buzz.
Brilliant. Well, Stuart, thank you for coming on again. Thank you for supplying us with monitors. You're going to be hanging around here a bit.
Yes, I will be. So I'll be over by our stack.
So if people want to ask you questions about the monitor range and obviously the server range things, they can do. In the meantime, Stuart, thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
Hey, it's coming to the end of the show. Coming to the end of BVE North. Which camera I'm on? That one. It's getting dark outside. We've got a massive studio to pack up, so we're going to call it a day. Just to let you know, the next show is going to be live from our normal studio, which kind of looks a bit like this, down from our Newbury studio office, and that is happening on December the 12th. So make sure you stay tuned. You can see it on broadcastshow.com/live and lots of other places. But make sure you follow us as well on Twitter. We are at BroadcastShow. and we will always tweet out when the shows are coming and give you an idea of guests and what's happening on the next show. In the meantime, from BVE North, thank you to the audience who have hung around. We shall be seeing you again on December the 12th. Till then, goodbye.